It started as a protest against a new labor law. On March 31st, hundreds of thousands of students and labor unionists marched against their socialist president, François Hollande, angry over new plans to create jobs by reducing protections for workers. But some of them still haven't gone home. In central Paris, protesters have been staging nightly sit-ins for weeks, creating a movement called Up All Night. In Place de la République, participants debate everything, from the migration crisis to climate change and tax evasion.
The aim here and everywhere in France, just like in other countries such as Greece, Spain, Italy, or even Canada, when they held a general strike in 2014, is to rebel against the powerful and scare them. We want fear to switch sides.
It's taken on a revolutionary feel, and sit-ins have spread across France. So is Nuit Debout the start of a new political movement? Or have we seen it all before? 2011, Wall Street, New York. A movement against social and economic inequality was born. Protesters, fed up with capitalism, occupied the city to take a stand against corporations and the super rich. The message gathered pace across America and spread to more than 82 countries around the world. But the movement hasn't succeeded in toppling capitalism. What it did do was spawn other anti-establishment groups. In Europe, a crippling debt crisis launched a wave of protests against job cuts and austerity drives. The Indignados in Spain led the way. In Hong Kong, the so-called Umbrella Revolution directed its anger to Beijing not to meddle in its affairs. But like their tents, these movements have largely been packed away. Critics argue most protests lacked a coherent message. But participants say a display of dissatisfaction was enough to raise eyebrows and enter politics. Social justice parties have recently become players in mainstream politics. In 2014, Greece's Syriza party rose from being a protest movement to winning a general election. Catalonia's anti-austerity Podemos party is now the third largest political contender in Spain. Whatever their politics, these former fringe parties are answering calls for new voices in power, a sentiment that some argue started in Wall Street. It raises the question, had it not been for these social revolutions, would a former trade unionist like Jeremy Corbyn have emerged as the UK's Labour Party leader? Or would a vocal critic of corporate greed like Bernie Sanders have become a frontrunner to lead the most powerful capitalist country in the world? Sandra Gathmann, The Newsmakers.